Welcome back for another edition of Kingdom Conversations, man, where, hopefully, hey, listen, we're going to have some footage coming out for y'all because y'all missed it.
TikTok.
There's some in-between
I'm gonna
takes
edit that
here.
today. Or whenever you upload it.
I'm going to upload that today.
All
Some
right,
in-between takes.
Get it up today.
We gonna call it the Mad Preacher.
Let's go, baby. Woo! Cold cuts, baby. Go get some cold cuts today.
Man. I tell you what, I keep telling people nobody's gonna have more enjoyment out of this podcast than we will, and I am not untrue. But again, hey, listen, you can have just as much fun as we do. Find us on everywhere: Facebook,
everywhere.
Instagram, TikTok. Even on TikTok. Oh no, we do have a video. We have a singular video so far. I got to get some more content up there. But find us anywhere and everywhere you listen to anything and everything. I tell people all the time, just go Google us and punch in Kingdom Conversations. You know the logo. You know the logo. So if you punch in Kingdom Conversations, you know if you see the logo, you know it's your favorite people. As always, every single week, I'm Alan.
Yo, what up? It's your boys, only the favorite rapper in your apartment complex. Hey, Swine in the building. Ask me about my podcast. You know what it is.
I do not understand what's happening.
Huh?
Your favorite rapper. Like, what are we doing? 50 ain't in the building. What are we talking about, man?
In your apartment complex.
Oh my gosh. It just gets more and more egregious every time.
I'm telling you.
Every time it's more egregious, man.
Hey, man.
Go ahead, Calvin.
Let's do this, man. Who are you, sir? Fine, sir, this top of the morning.
The Mad Preacher.
Top of the morning, Mad Preacher.
It's your friend, your mentor, Calvin D. Hill. Hey, look, I'm trying not to put that hat on. I'm really trying. I'm trying not to put that hat on.
Why would you resist
I'm trying not.
You need to educate
Listen,
folks.
Because
you need to educate
I'm telling you, one,
they ain't gonna like me.
I don't care about them liking me.
Okay,
Ain't got
good.
nothing to do with that. I don't care about that.
I'm listening.
I'll be out the box.
Save the church, Calvin.
I ain't saving nothing. It ain't my church. I can't save what ain't mine. Okay.
What?
Yeah. See.
Are you not the building?
No, you are not the building.
Understand it.
All right, man. That's not what we talk about. We talk about what. That's not what we doing.
Yeah,
that's not what we doing today.
He trying to reel me in. I
don't even know why, because this is the topic he want to talk about. He want to go down other stuff.
Right.
Like,
we gonna
what
mental
are we
health.
doing over here?
We're not doing that today, man.
Who
Mental health.
raised you?
Mental health.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what they're talking about. What's the topic for today, gentlemen?
Your topic.
No, I put it down.
Who did that?
I put it down.
Didn't.
He didn't. He didn't. So today.
Interesting.
And it may just be, I don't know if it's, within certain communities or whatever, or if it's just everybody. Obviously, though, I'm a black male, so I know this community much better than I know everyone else's. But why is mental health taboo? Why are people so reluctant? Why are people so against getting any type of help of any kind from anybody? Because that's essentially what it seems like to me. Mental health. Even if it's just somebody to discuss things with, nobody wants to. It's like in the community, nobody wants to talk about any issues that they may have, even if those issues are not they're just perceived issues or what have you. Nobody wants to talk about. So we got some bullet points that we're gonna cover today.
Yeah.
I think Twine probably gonna do most of the talking though. He's our mental health advocate.
I mean, because I've been through it, man. And most people have been through it, but they ain't going to admit to it. So with that being said, Calvin, why do you think that mental health is taboo? No, I'm just asking a question.
They're going to come from me early.
Why is mental health so taboo? Or do you think it's taboo?
Mental health not taboo. We just don't want to talk about it.
Reading that prompt. Over here reading that prompter.
There you go.
Mental health is not a problem, comma.
Smiling
Seriously, man. I
think, okay.
Go ahead.
So for the way my family and other families like mine was raised, our parents and our grandparents didn't talk about issues. They didn't discuss, like you said, subjects or mental health, because that wasn't, one, we weren't educated on how to deal with it properly. Two, we were taught to sedate it. What I mean by sedate it, go to church, jump up and down, and it'll be fine. There are some benefits to spirituality. There are some true benefits. But that does not fix all. There should be a place and time for mental health. But that's not the cultures that we were brought up in. That's not what we were taught. And then don't add the fact of being a man, because you better suck it up. Don't cry. Be tough. That's what the mentality is to be a man. So now we have the generation of the disconnected, such as us, the 40 plus whatever, that window, that generation, we weren't taught to, it's okay to cry. I wasn't taught that. I'll speak for me. I wasn't taught that. You a man, you hurt yourself. Get up, be tough. So now it transferred to emotional disconnect. Oh, he hurt your feelings. Shut up, stop being a punk. Stop being a little girl. So now you internalize it, you bottle those emotions up. What emotions? So now you got a woman that wants you to be emotional connected, but guess what? Ain't no emotions there, because we were taught to lock them up. So now I don't discuss none of that. So now I don't have a mental problem. So now I don't have mental issues. So what I need to talk to you for?
Not for, ladies and gentlemen.
For.
F-A-H.
Yeah, for. So you said I just put all that together. So that's why
I understand.
That's why mental health is taboo. That's why we don't talk about it.
The other thing I was just thinking about while you was talking, in talking about the parents and grandparents, I think some of the reasons they didn't talk about it is because
they had issues.
It's easy to talk about it once you've come out the other side of it,
right?
Which is definitely why Zoe finds it easy to talk about, because you got help and now you're on the other side, so you can look back and see. But if you still are going through it, how
do I talk?
How do I talk to you about it? Right. Because if it was your grandparents and they can't talk to you about segregation, so to speak, or all the ills that caused, because in their mind they're still going through it. And I'm not saying, and I say in their mind, even though they might really still be going through it. Like, so how do you talk to somebody about your mental health when you are still in the battle?
Yeah.
I'm taken back to a time in my younger days when there was somebody that was mentally ill on our street. We had a long street.
Yep.
A lot of people were doing it. Very long street. So this person was going through something mentally, and for whatever reason, she was outside walking down the street with a bowling pin and a steak knife, and the cop shot her dead. Just
sounds like cops.
Yeah. So with that being said, oh, she's crazy. Something's wrong with her. Mm-hmm. So as a child, I internalized that to be, don't do that because, or don't show any of that, because if you do, something bad's going to happen.
You might get shot.
You might get shot. Mm-hmm. Something. It was looked down upon.
Right.
Basically, It was looked down upon. So when you talk about why is mental health so taboo, it ties into everything you were talking about, as well as you, Alan. But the whole imagery of it is shunned upon.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't talk about it, especially back in the day with our parents of the older generation. It was something that you just didn't talk about. Just like if you were into different, the whole sexual gender thing, you didn't talk about it back then because you're not supposed to. First of all, let's not do that.
Right.
We're gonna pray, and we are going to see what happens, and that'll fix it. Right. And it did not.
It didn't.
We're gonna pray to get away
again.
And I'm not shunning the church.
No. I don't take that as a.
I'm talking to the listeners because I don't know how they feel.
They tough by now. If they still here, they tough by now. Shout out to them. But like you said,
it's because they need to go see somebody about their mental health.
they don't deal with it. But for some, I feel like how you manage it or how you deal with your mental health is important. Some people can manage it, however you want to put it, better than others.
And those are some long nights. I shout out to y'all because those are some long, cold nights.
And I don't
by yourself. I don't. This mental torment that you stay up all night with.
And I don't know how some people. Right? No, because I have peace. I sleep solid. I love it.
Except when you wake up saying get some. I understand.
Yeah, but that was
ready to kill something that's not there.
It was there.
Sure. Sure.
Was there. But that's beside the point. I'm saying for some people, and I'll use me, I feel like I'm in a good space with mental health.
That's what most people with mental issues say.
And that's what I feel like most people want people to be. Me personally, I feel like in our today and everything we've gone through, people want you to have a lot of mental problems. Not saying people don't, but they want you to have them and not be able to deal with them. Some people have to deal with them with a therapist. Some people have to deal with them, become workaholics. Some people deal with them, whatever. Yeah, some people manage their mental health differently.
They do.
I feel like I've learned to deal with my mental health in a various number of ways because I talk to my wife. That's a lot of my outlet.
How much does she get paid by the hour?
I pray, huh?
How much does she get paid by the hour?
Exactly. It ain't business.
Moving on.
It ain't business. It ain't business. That's why. That's why I got her. It ain't business.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I pray. I do take time to meditate. I do those things constantly, especially when my stress levels reach high, like beyond when I feel like okay, I'm about to reach my breaking point. Oh, that's my cue. I start sitting down. Start meditating more, start praying more, because those are my release, and those are what help me with my mental health. If it wasn't that, gym, working out regularly, proper diet, stuff like that, that helps me with that helps me with my mental health. Now, if I don't do those things, I know it causes a problem fast.
I got a question.
Yep.
In regards of you just saying that people don't want you to manage it. Why do you think they don't encourage mental stability?
An excuse. Because, for example, you go to work and I want to get rid of you. I'm not going to tell you about all the programs that we have at this job that helps deal with mental health. I'll never tell you. I'll never make mention because all I want to do is get rid of you.
But why would you want to get rid of a worker?
Some people like that.
That's
some
a hostile
people,
environment. Boy.
Some people, businesses, jobs are like that.
Just
and people yeah. Some people are like that. I ain't
business wise. I see.
Right.
So you up here, you getting paid this amount. All right, I need to get rid of you.
Yeah.
Hire somebody new, pay them low, and then work you back up, and then keep the cycle going. I understand that.
Not saying it's right.
Mental health.
Mental health. So
that's one of the reasons why I think, because when I started working at the place that I'm at, I made sure that you got to go through HR orientation and everything. I paid more than usual attention because I wanted to know everything I didn't, because my thing is they're paying me to be here anyway. I may as well pay attention. But, a lot of people go to those all the time. A lot of people go to them and they just kind of like, whatever, I'm just here, I'm just blah, I got to go through this training or whatever. So that was how I found out about the Federal Student Loan Forgiveness Program. So I was like, oh, word, I make 10 years of payments, you wipe the slate clean. Cool. And then I come back from the training. People been there 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Like, they got that program? Where were you when they did orientation? Crazy. So I say that to say, so yes, people will try to keep the information from you to get rid of you. However, in whatever situation you happen to be in, listener, find out what you got access to. Because there's generally more benefits than you have. But you might have to do some digging.
I got something to say, and it's controversial.
Yeah.
Here it is. If you have ever taken advantage of me knowing that there was something wrong with me mentally and psychologically, I had something else to say, but shame on you. That's all I got for right now. Shame on you. You a sucker. That's what I want to say. Yeah, now I remember. You a sucker.
Okay. All right. Sounds like we need to.
No, I'm just saying that because people take
do.
advantage
People
of,
do take advantage
I know.
of people.
Oh, I know.
Especially when they're having an emotional or mental problem or
when they see that.
Yeah.
And they manipulate and they try to take advantage of that and they try to control you in different type of ways and make you do things. They know if you do this, if I do this or say something, I know it's like playing chess with somebody. And you know how they're going to respond. You know that they're not good. You know that something's wrong with that person, but yet and still, you want to press all the buttons to manipulate and keep it tight and close. You a sucker. And if you're taking advantage of somebody out there right now that has psychological or mental issues and they trying to get better and you're not trying to encourage them because you want to have it your way like Burger King, you a sucker. That's straight up, man. Sorry. Not sorry. Straight up. You expected to follow along all the daggone time and then just be out here just hurting. Some people out here have issues and they don't want to seek the help because that's seen as being weak.
Yep. Why is that seen as being weak? Why do people feel like if you have a mental issue, that's weakness? To me, that's just life. Everybody has a mental issue. Everybody got something.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody. I understand what you're saying.
It's nobody on this planet that
but
don't
some
have a
just struggle
issue.
with things. They struggle with things because everybody goes through life differently. Everybody experiences things differently. So for you and Alan, it may not be as traumatic. However, you have some people out here that have seen some stuff.
Right.
Thank you. Seen some
stuff.
Let me bring it down a little bit.
Right.
They've seen some stuff.
Yeah.
So for them, there's multiple triggers for some people. Some people have one trigger. Other people have multiple triggers because of what they've been through. Go ahead, you got something.
Oh, I mean, I was going to say, because, I mean, it is certainly, I think that's part of the problem is everybody, because we've been raised to be like, all people are created equal. But again, I know. but again, people being foolish and leaning into their own understanding and so forth. Like they don't understand that what anyway. But so I think that's where part of the problem comes from though, because people always say, well, if I did it, if I dealt with it, you can deal with it. I'm like, oh, no.
No, you deal differently.
Because I can tell you that, because we all went through the same stuff. And 100, how many people? 200 people in the unit? Yeah. And everybody dealt with it differently.
Right.
It affected everybody differently. So, especially in our society, it's expected that if I dealt with it, you should be able to deal with it. And that ain't the case.
And then you know what? In most cases, they ain't really dealing with it.
Mm-hmm. No.
They just trying to portray.
They self-medicate.
They self. Oh, yeah. No comment.
And that's
talking about. And that's trying to make it seem like they have it all together and they don't.
Right. The ABC's doing 5 days a week.
That's where
exactly,
or something. That's where people have to be honest with themselves. People have to be honest with themselves and say, okay, am I okay with this way of life, of this mental health. Am I okay?
This way of thinking.
This way of thinking. Yeah. Am I okay?
Or feeling.
Am I? Some people are not. Some people are not, and they need to get help. Need to go see a therapist. Some people don't. That's why I'm at with it.
And people,
go ahead.
People hide what they really got going on because they want to show you what they want to. People will show you what they want to show you.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, they have an outward persona.
Yeah. So when I see something here as far as in wealthier communities, I think they just hide it better. If that is the case, because they have the financial means of getting the help that they want, but some don't want it.
Well, that and it's still taboo there too, because again, I mean, if you are a pillar, so to speak, of the community because of your wealth, and then people see you going into the local psychiatrist's office, then it changes the perception of it. Definitely in conservative states, it's going to change the perception of who you are.
I think people with money,
they have.
I think they seek therapy. I would like to think they would because they have the means. I think some people don't because they don't have the means.
I mean, that's
they
definitely
don't
going to be true.
have the money, so they couldn't. That's another reason I think in the black culture. Well, I think that's another reason in the black culture that we didn't pursue therapy because we didn't have the money.
It's not even about
we assumed
that, bro. Because they got. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, because I mean, I work in a place that is for that purpose. That if you don't have the funds to go to one of these establishments, you come here.
Yeah. So there's resources available. So it's I think it's a lack of information, a lack of wanting to do it.
Right. And some people don't know.
They don't.
Either they don't know.
Okay.
They don't show.
Right. And so let's go back two generations.
Yeah.
You think black people were readily available for these resources to get mental health?
No. So
when we were getting busted in the head, running down the street, shot.
So the pastor was the mental health.
Exactly.
And then they had nobody for
and
their own
they didn't have
health.
nobody to help.
It's okay. Pay your tithes, baby. It'll be all right. Get on out there, roast.
But at the same time,
this ain't Boondocks.
No. At the same time, the church then was way stronger. That prayer was way more effective, and it worked because it got you. Church was real. It won't business. It won't business, and that's my point.
It was not business.
For which episode?
For an episode that didn't exist yet. But
look, we went through a whole train right there.
But that is true. I mean, because even as you look at it, it was at the time the church was the community.
Exactly.
And it always came together. Somebody didn't have, the church came together to provide. And now, so essentially, as it was, the church was a socialist system where everybody pooled their resources to give to those who didn't have. But guess what? Now, the crazy thing is, more churches were like that, but guess what happened? The Great Depression happened. They got overwhelmed. Right. And they never got back to it. Because all of these social programs that we have were functions that the church used to provide until the Great Depression.
The church and the Black Panther
another
Party.
One is coming.
The Black Panther Party.
Black Panther Party was providing food for young kids.
Oh, they absolutely were.
And had to get shut down.
Yep, had to get shut down. They said, we can't have y'all taking care of yourselves.
All right, we ain't going there.
Control the church, get back to control the people. Let's move on.
Back to the mental health.
Mental health. Don't get me.
Mental health.
Mental health.
We got Huey.
So that's so. So I think.
Pastor.
So look. I think that's where some of the problem comes in. Is that, and to me, if you have, because at the same time you would have been more able, because everybody was going through a collective struggle and a collective suffering, you would have been more willing to talk to your brother or sister and say, hey, look, because one, they would have known what was going on. Because at the time, if everybody's in the same neighborhood, they saw the cops come in your house and bust you in the head last night. They saw that happen.
They know what's happening.
It ain't like you called somebody 12 streets over and said, and then they over there like, man, it ain't never happened over here. Well, of course it didn't. Your house 3 times the size of mine. They ain't even over there. You live with all them people.
Mental health.
Mental health.
No comment.
So mental health was closer to you. because mental health would have been done in the community. Now, that's not to say that it was good, but you had more opportunity, I think, because it was all community based, to actually talk to somebody that had some level of experience, or even if it was, whether it was applied experience, learned experience, or experience from somebody else, they would have, because even though you might have had this community, they still would have talked to church leaders from other communities. Mm-hmm. It might not have been, as often. Might have called them on the phone, and then they, because everybody's got to have somebody that they discuss their problems with. I think. Martin Luther King was discussing his problems with a bunch of people.
If it was one thing I wish we were trained to deal with trauma better. That's one of the, for me personally, I wish we would take more time to help people deal with trauma, so we can deal with some of these triggers.
I'm glad you said that, Calvin.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry to cut you off, but so dealing with it versus getting help.
We're getting trained.
I'm your game host. This is Twan. And we're going to ask one of our contendants today.
Contendants? What's that mean?
Contestant, let's go. I'll pay tribute.
So,
I'm your Huckleberry.
Here I is.
So, in dealing with the mental health issues, as far as health-wise, versus getting better, what are your thoughts as far as you dealing with it? Let's start with that first.
All right. So,
really,
because if I can only speak for me. I don't understand.
And that's why I asked you that question.
So, dealing with trauma, I deal with everything differently. Mental health. I deal with everything differently. So, for me to get better, I had to turn to spirituality, praying, meditating. I had to make sure I took care of myself physically, working out. I had to make that a part of my regular routine. Mm-hmm. I had to make sure my diet, I had a reasonable diet. Those three things helped my mental health. I saw a major change in those, and also what I was reading and who I was dealing with. Those, for me, made the biggest changes with my mental health.
Gotcha.
From borderline depression, anxiety, whatever other issues I may have had. Praying, meditating, diet, workout, reading proper material, and watching motivational speakers and stuff like that, those what helped me the most. So I lost those depressions and anxieties and all these other issues I was having. They slowly went away. Mm-hmm. I don't have everybody, not saying I don't have bad moments or episodes, sad days and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Now, as far as like a trigger or a PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, something triggers you, that's a trauma that you can get help for or should get help for. I haven't done it because I feel like, okay, that was an episode. That was, okay, that happened, then yeah. It hasn't been consistent enough or expand. It's been long enough to where I felt like, okay, I can't manage this. I need to get help. That's what it is. At a point where I feel like, okay, not only am I not managing it well, it's affecting everybody around me. Pause, flag, okay, go get help. That's the way I feel about it. That's for me.
Okay.
So I haven't met all of my markers to say, okay, Calvin, stop what you're doing. Everybody got to shut off. Go get help. I haven't met those markers yet.
Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate you being transparent. I I got triggers.
Yeah.
Multiple triggers.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I myself did not seek the help until I was encouraged to. So that's why I push other people so much to do so, because in my mind, I was okay. I was fine, but I wasn't. So I had good days, I had bad days, but it was a dramatic difference between the two. When I did have a trigger, I am somebody that you do not want to be around.
Exactly. So that, but you know that now, and you can identify that now.
Now,
for me,
with the help,
people, some people haven't even identified. They don't see it.
Yeah,
oblivious to it. That's to me where the problems come to where, okay, obviously he's triggered. Obviously he's having a problem, and the people around him aren't helping and don't even see. Okay, you don't notice that's a drastic difference from
they don't
that
either they
to
don't
that,
know.
or you don't care. You don't
They
care,
don't
and
show.
you like what you're getting. So
Yeah.
so that's my thing.
Yeah.
That's my thing, and that's why I say.
And a lot of people but how are they supposed, like, for people who don't really know you and they're just associates, they don't care about none of that. So let's just be real. Unless you got
Right.
somebody in your circle, on in your team, your tight knit group,
Right.
that says, "Hey, what's going on?" They're asking you. But even at that point, I could not tell them what was going on because I didn't know.
Right, but you should see the signs, or you should see some kind of
When
problem.
you in the midst of it, you don't see nothing. But our people outside, of course, they're going to see something. They're going to notice something.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where, what do I say now? Because last time I said it, XYZ happened, and that wasn't good. So I'm gonna just fall back and give them time and do what they need to do. But the whole time,
that's a
spiraling
cycle.
down
Right.
even further than when you even started. Because when my mind gets to thinking, I can't stop, and it gets bad to the point where everybody's my enemy, and I can't fix it. So then what I try to do to counter that when I didn't have the help was I would fall back from everybody, and you wouldn't see or hear from me, because I felt as if my energy, like, I'm in a bad spot and I don't want to it affect or infect
Everybody else,
everybody
anybody
with
else.
my poison, basically.
Right.
So, but shout out for growth and getting help and seeking help, wanting
help
to get
I
the
think
help
that's
is
a
different
big
from
thing
me.
too.
Yeah.
Some people don't want the help.
Because it's okay. It's not me. It's everybody else.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
And I was at that point for a long time.
You can't help somebody that don't want help.
No, you can't.
All you can do is say, "Hey, that's an issue. Hey, that might be a problem."
Yeah, and eventually, I hope that if anybody out there does have psychological, or they've been through something or trauma in their life, that they'll get to a point where they say, "Hey, I want the help," versus, just
And hopefully they don't wait too late.
yeah,
But
yeah.
my
I see. You know what? It's crazy. I see things now that I didn't pay attention to before. Now that I've been through it, for example, today on the way here, it hurt me so bad. Somebody handed me something, and I noticed things like physical stuff on their arm. I'm like, damn. But yet
You got
still,
yeah.
you smiling and you but I know from seeing that, something's wrong.
yeah.
That's crazy. So people out here are suffering in silence. For
sure.
And instead of getting the help, they find ways to deal with it that's not beneficial to them or the people around them, man.
Well,
So,
sometimes you gotta ask a hard question, man. You ask them a hard question. Do you like what you're getting?
Oh, come on, man. You can't do that.
Yeah, because sometimes you
No.
got to put people's feet to the fire and say, okay,
No.
are you okay with what you're? Do you like it?
And
If you don't like it,
they gonna say
let's
yes.
change it.
They gonna say
okay,
yes,
no,
because they're not,
right,
they're not
but-
gonna know. Because most of
Okay.
for-
I'm
as-
gonna
like I said,
use a personal one. No. I'm gonna use a personal one. And I did this
listening.
before. I used the personal. All right. Person has obvious problems. And I said, okay, you notice how your relationships all the way around. Do you like the way these relationships are? The silence told me everything. I don't need you to say nothing now. So obviously you see the problem. You don't want to change. I ain't gonna force you.
That's a specific case for that person.
Right, for that person.
I'm thinking generally abroad. There are people like that, not saying that it's not.
Yeah.
Because there's a mixture of both.
But you can't take that approach with everybody.
No, because some people can't handle being accountable.
Oh, Lord.
All right, man. All right.
No. This is what we're here for. Is this not why you've come? Are you not entertained? This is what we came for. But for some...
I love you.
No. I'm more sympathetic because of my experience towards people with mental issues.
I understand that.
Or psychological imbalances, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
So I have, I don't want to say a soft spot, but I have a better understanding.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
All right.
Because you're able to sympathize with them.
I don't do that with a lot of people.
No.
For those,
but see, for me, it would be empathizing. You can sympathize because you have been there.
Yeah.
I would have to empathize
I'm going
because
through it, I should say.
I have not been there, so I can't relate to the full situation, but I could have a level of compassion, which somebody has already told me, Calvin, you're not very compassionate. So I would have to empathize with them. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying, for me, if I love somebody and if I care for them, I'm going to make sure I, as a friend or a loved one, hold you accountable to say, okay, let's look at what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Let's look at our relationships. Let's look at our whatever it is. I mean, mental health affects a lot of areas of life. So let's look at it. Mm-hmm. Are we, because I love you, are we okay with that?
Ask me that about 5 years ago. I would have told you, yeah.
And guess what I said as a loved one?
What would you say?
You sure? As a loved one, you sure? Because as a loved one, this is affecting me to see you like this. So I'm not okay with that. If you're okay with that, we gonna talk about it a couple more times. I see you ain't ready to deal with it yet, so I'm gonna be here. Guess what? I'm gonna be here. Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna abandon. I'm gonna be here. Most people, when they dealing with somebody with a mental issue, they cut and run. But when you got people that you really love and you really care about, mm-hmm. This ain't a cut and run situation. This is, are we in this? Are we okay with that? Mm-hmm. I don't like nobody on my team broke, busted, and disgusted. So when people on my team doing good, guess what? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. If you ain't doing good, what's wrong, boss? We sick today? Is we sick? What? Oh, but that's my mentality about my team. That's why I have a big one.
Yeah, I understand.
So if you say you love people, you care about them, they got mental health issues. Okay, it's no longer a them issue. It's a we issue. We in this. We got a problem. We need to fix it.
So is it safe to say, from what I hear you what you have spoken, is that when it comes to this topic in general, you're not focused on what you're going through. You're trying to figure out how we gonna fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta understand.
Yeah, because but this. Okay, let me qualify that statement because I love you. Mm-hmm. This is my.
That's what you do.
This is my team. This is people. I said at my 40th birthday, I'll never forget it, man. I took a picture. I got a good picture at the house. Everybody in that room on my 40th birthday, I love you. Mm-hmm. So if you having a problem, we got a problem.
Got it.
We got an issue we need to solve.
I'm going to say something because you mentioned the circle. Be wise in who is in your circle.
100%.
Because that will affect you as well. If you're already having issues, and
they would demolish your mentality, your mental health if they are not on your man. They will eat you alive.
They will eat you alive. They would definitely eat you alive, man.
That's why I'm so careful about that thing.
And that's why I know that my circle is small, because I understand that I can't be around certain folks because it would be a trigger, and I would hurt people's feelings with no remorse at all. I would straight.
Hey man,
Let's just move on.
Let's move on, man.
So, Alan, you had I see you have some couple notes here that you're adding. It says, "What are some of the things that you have gotten from therapy?" Is that okay? Well, since I'm the only one that I know of that been through therapy,
I mean, I haven't been through as much as you.
Alan went to
therapy.
Share a couple therapy sessions.
So, I mean, the first thing that is that in this most recent one, now, depending on what you're going to therapy for, it's going to take many different forms. But if it's trauma-related therapy, then the first thing that I got of it was that you are normal. Like, it's not everybody's gonna go through whatever you went through differently, and however you go through it is normal for you. Mm-hmm. So not to look at yourself and like something got to be wrong because these are the thoughts that I'm having or these are the things that I'm doing. This has happened after this event or what have you. So that you are normal. Once you can reconcile the fact that you are not broken, so to speak, mm-hmm. then you can begin to figure out what you need to do. And at least in my case, he was just, because of what we had discussed, it was like, okay, well, you need to create some systems to keep you from going down these mental, because for me it's always in my head anyway. Generally, I've learned not to lash out at people. But that doesn't mean I'm not lashing out in my head. So he gave me some systems that I could create for myself to, tame my brain. So it's because I was an only child for a long time. So I'm always thinking. I didn't have people to bounce ideas off of or talk to when I was a kid other than my parents. So I was always in my mind a lot.
Can you share, because I like this one, can you share the system you created? I like that. I like that.
Oh God,
I like that. That gets me
the word
excited.
system.
Well, so for me, it was, my mind was not allowing me to sleep. Like I was for. Now this sleep number actually helps. We got a sleep number bed. It's nice, but yeah, it's nice. I tell you.
Test.
Don't let Angie hear you say that.
Well, she might hear it now. I guess you're gonna have to get a sleep number. Just don't get the bottom tier. The one we got like foot warmers and stuff too. Uh-huh. Oh, it's nice though. It is nice though. Split, like it's a split king, jank, the split tops. So if your partner snores, you can raise them up a little bit. And they don't stop snoring, but it puts them in a better position to not snore. Type of thing.
As loud.
Yeah. So, but it's listen. I will say this. And then we'll get back to what I was talking about. It is so far. I will say it's probably the best sleep that we have gotten on a mattress. Mm-hmm. Now you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay for it. Yeah. But the question is, how important is sleep to you? If sleep controls everything else you do.
My money tied up, man. I can't.
I understand.
Sleep when I'm dead.
Sleeping on that cardboard. But what he said, is that you need to create some kind of system. So whether that was, and now people call it like a bedtime ritual, so that your body and your mind knows that it's time to start getting yourself ready for bed.
You need to share tips on that because I have trouble getting to that point where I go to bed.
Yep.
I'm up for no goddamn reason.
And we can't, like some of the things he said was, one big one for a lot of people is the phone. He said your phone really needs to be not in the same room with you. Like you put your phone on the charger somewhere else, not by your bedside chair, out of reach, so that you don't, if somebody does text you in the middle of the night, your phone don't light up and now you like, oh, who was that? So that you really needed to this device, because the problem is the light that this produces
it's like the sun, right?
is like sunlight. So it tricks your brain into not even wanting to go to sleep. So putting this away sooner, outside of the room, which I can certainly do because I use my watch for my alarm clock anyway. I like to tap on the wrist as opposed to the electronic rooster scaring me half to death. Mm-hmm. I just like to, come on now. It feel like somebody doing this to tell you to get up, like, hey. Which is cool. But if you don't have a watch, you still got to use that electronic rooster.
I ain't got no watch.
You have
anyway.
One.
Move on.
So that was one of the things was he said, put my phone somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now if I'm on call, because I do have on call nights, and it's kind of got to be there. But or the other thing that you could do is put it on complete do not disturb, where everybody's on do not disturb. And so that's also something that I've done, except on nights when I'm on call. So even if I get a text message or the phone rings, unless they call enough times back to back, it's not going to deliver that to me. So that was one thing. And then he was talking about, having, an actual step process. So and you create it yourself. So whether that's you do this, and then you do this, you brush your teeth, you get in the bed, or you do this, maybe you meditate, exercise, pray, whatever the steps were.
A routine.
Yes, a routine. To prepare your mind to go to bed. But what most people do is they're doing, then they just hop in the bed. No. So
I used to play music to kind of get my mind.
Yeah, now I can't sleep to music.
Get a good routine.
I've tried that. I can't sleep to music. I've tried it. My cousin can. He can sleep to it.
Well, not really music, but it's more like they have things on YouTube like a fireplace.
Yeah.
Crackling.
White noise.
Fire, white noise, basically. Yep. Yeah.
So, but some kind of routine. Now, the crazy thing is everybody's routine obviously is going to be different. Right. So, because it's going to be based on your family. Like, we don't have children. So, there's no, like, we're not putting kids to bed and then trying to get to bed. So, I could start my routine at 5 p.m. if I wanted to.
Good gracious.
I could. I could, as soon as
catch up, people. Catch up.
Let's think about it, and you could just have a set like Calvin does. You have a set routine afterwards, so that you do this, you do this, and then you get into bed. But he said it really needed to be that 30-minute window before you plan to go to sleep. That you 1, 2, 3 into the bed, or 1, 2, 3, 4 into the bed.
I called Calvin last night, and I was like, "Yo, Calvin, you gonna get a topic? You gonna pick a topic?" He was like, "Look, man, I'm about to get something to eat, and then I'm going to bed." I'm like, "But are you going to get a topic?" Hey, look, man, I'm gonna get something to eat, and then go to bed. So I think that's part of his routine.
Routine.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Routines are good for you.
Not sorry.
So, and it just depends on what you need, because so that was what I got for, and I can say that it does assist. It certainly helps. I also still use melatonin to help assist with turning my brain off, essentially.
Speaking of that, real quick, my doctor told me, because I asked her, like, "Yo, I'm having trouble sleeping. Is there something you can give me?" She was like, "To be honest with you, take melatonin." I was like, "It don't work." And then she says, "So when you take the melatonin, what do you do?" Like, "What do you mean? What do you do?" "Well, I do this, I do that." She's like, No, don't do that. Don't. You have to sit down, relax your body. It's a natural thing. So she recommended me doing that versus getting on some stronger dosage of the heavy stuff.
Nah, you don't want to be on that Michael Jackson.
Nah,
you don't want to be on that Michael Jackson.
I take me a good Andrew and go to sleep.
Moving on. I hope you're listening. Keep getting help.
Out like a light.
How do you figure out? Figure out how to avoid triggers if you can. That's a good note.
And sometimes it's just places, like if you know that going certain places or being around certain people is a trigger, then might have to spend less time.
I'm trying to tell you, spend less time with them.
Yeah, or Jim Rohn had always said this. Some people you might, when we talk about disassociation, some people you might have to. If you spend hours with them, you might have to take it down to minutes. If you spend minutes with them, you might have to take it down to 0.
I'm trying to tell you,
because at the end of the day,
it'll work wonders for your life.
Ask me about it. Keep getting help, everybody. That's another note I do see here as well.
I try not to keep people or things. So it's one of the reasons why, because I'm not on. Like, I'm on Facebook, but I ain't on Facebook.
I get it.
Because then I just want to burn the world down 17 times over. So I don't even put myself in position. That's why I like Instagram better, even though, people are still, and I will definitely unfollow and block. I have no problem with that. People are like, "Oh, you need to be able to reach the people." No, I don't. No, I don't. Let God deal with them.
With that being said, Alan.
No, I don't.
Alan, cue the music. Cue the music.
Next season, can we not burn everything down?
No.
Please? I want to keep some stuff around for a little while.
Listen, we will rebuild from the ashes.
Oh, Thanos. Come on, man.
Rebuild from the ashes. The forest is rebuilt from the ashes.
No, man.
New trees, new plants, new bugs.
I want to keep
new
some
blue
stuff.
sky.
New blue sky. Every few years, you need to burn off the forest floor so the forest can stay healthy.
With that being said, Calvin, do you have any closing remarks or statements for this wonderful podcast about mental health?
For mental health, I'm gonna say this: do what you can, and do what works for you for your mental health. You need to see a therapist, please go see a therapist. If you need to develop a good system, a good routine, do that. If you pray and you have your faith in God, please do that. Or do a combination of all of them. But whatever you do, please take care of your mental health at this day and time, because we need you. We need you strong, and I don't want to see people burn it down. I want to see people live in peace. I want to see people live in love, wisdom. Love y'all. That's all I got to say. Go ahead and somebody else.
Real quick, man. Stop listening to people who don't know what you're going through when it comes to mental health. All right?
Boom.
Getting help is not showing signs of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Strength that you have the ability to say, hey, something is wrong. I need help. There's nothing wrong with that. Believe me, it's so much better on this side. Come join me, won't you? Who's Saneba?
That was good.
Hey, listen, man. Get what you need.
I'm serious, man.
Get what you need.
Yeah, definitely, man. We out here for you, man. Man, reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, man. Especially if they're offering you the help. You may not see the advantage of doing so, man, but it's definitely going to be a blessing for you, man. So I don't want you to miss out on that opportunity. So if the door's open, who should never come in?
We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.